And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Welcome to the Politics, Prepping, and Paranormal Podcast.
Flibbity-jibbity nonsense.
I thought it was terrific.
Not just big, it's yeah.
Let's go.
Welcome, and thanks for listening to the Politics, Prepping, and Paranormal Podcast. My name is Jeff Mooring, and I'm your host. I'm going to do something I have never done. I'm going to do a biography-style show. I don't know about you, but personally, I don't get excited about celebrities. I know people that obsess over what is the latest celebrity gossip, what kind of drama they're in, what they wear, what they're doing, where they're going, etc. Personally, I don't really care that much about celebrities. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that I dislike them or have any ill feelings or wishes towards them. No, I just mean that I'm just not that interested in them over any other normal person like myself. I have the opinion that they put their pants on the same way me and you do. I just don't get excited about any celebrity gossip unless it's political. And in that case, it's just the politics of it that I'm interested in usually, not the people themselves. I can honestly say that in this entire world, there's only a handful of people that I could say I might get excited to meet. Donald Trump's one of them. Josh Gates is another. I'm not going to say all their names, just know it's a very, very short list. Well, the gentleman I'm doing a show about today is one of them. Elon Musk is a fascinating guy. Well, I'm not going to go all Swifty on y'all. If I ever did have the chance to meet him, or even better, interview him for my show, I do think he's a very intriguing, fascinating dude. And I know I'm not the only one. Do any of y'all remember the Dos Equis commercials? I think they're from like the early 2000s with the older bearded guy that was always sitting in a bar or restaurant that they called the most interesting man in the world. Well, to me, outside of maybe Donald Trump, Elon Musk is that guy. Do I want to be him? Nope. Would I like to have his money? Absolutely. But quite frankly, I just think the guy's fascinating. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world and one of the closest advisors to arguably the most powerful man in the world. His story is fascinating. His political affairs are fascinating. And his personal life, well, that's even more fascinating. So I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to dedicate an entire show to talking about one person. Well, except, of course, for our weekly news roundup, which I'll get to in just a minute. But stay tuned. We will do a deep dive into the actual most interesting man in the world and his professional life, his political life, and his personal life, and maybe a few things you didn't know about the man. But first, here is what is going on in our country and around the world this week. Did any of y'all watch President Trump's joint address to Congress on Tuesday night? I admit I didn't. It was a long, busy week at work this week for me. I'm probably going to go back and rewatch it, though. I can't wait to see them throw out the Geico caveman. Representative Al Green from Congress. Also have seen clips from the address and President Trump talking about the transgender mice, and he made some jokes about the LGBTQI+, and a great deal of Congress singing, na, 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 hey, 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 goodbye, as they threw Al Green out. I'm definitely going to check it out. A lot of talk this week about President Trump's tariffs imposed on Canada and Mexico. At midnight on Tuesday, Trump imposed a 25% tariff on goods from Canada and Mexico, and also doubled his 10% levies on Chinese imports. All three countries quickly announced tariffs of their own. On Friday, Trump said he is considering large-scale sanctions and tariffs on Russia to pressure them into a ceasefire deal with Ukraine. The stock market has reacted, with the S&P 500 closing down 1.8% on Thursday and NASDAQ down 2.6%. The Dow Jones Industrial fell over 400 points. President Trump has blamed globalist countries and companies that won't be doing as well, quote, and has said he won't be paying attention to the stock market. I have a feeling this one may sting for a little while, and we may see inflation rise for a bit while we continue to play chicken with foreign countries over trade policies. We will be monitoring this for the next few months closely. We all know President Trump is a big supporter and proponent of crypto, and on Friday he hosted the first ever crypto summit with top executives from various digital asset firms and industry leaders. Crypto investors and executives are hopeful that Trump will start to roll back many of the regulations and restrictions imposed by the Biden administration, although reportedly most were disappointed with the summit and hope for more commitment for the industry. Trump has previously stated that he intends to create a strategic crypto Bitcoin reserve, but there still has been no definitive timetable for this to happen. In the tragic story I reported on last week, the autopsy results for actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy were released this week, and they claim to show that Hackman died of advanced heart disease and that Betsy died of a hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, a rare disease spread by infected rodent droppings. Furthermore, they believe that Betsy may have been dead for up to a week before Hackman died. Hackman had advanced Alzheimer's disease and may not have even known or realized that she had passed. Authorities are still waiting for results of the necropsy on one of the couple's 3 dogs that was found dead as well. In a news story I kept seeing pop up everywhere this week, former Canadian Olympian snowboarder Ryan Wedding has been added to the FBI's most wanted list, and the agency is offering $10 million for his capture. Wedding is accused of running a transnational drug trafficking ring that has shipped hundreds of kilograms of cocaine from Colombia to Mexico and then on to the U.S. and Canada. He is also alleged to have committed multiple murders along the way as well. Investigators believe that Wedding may be living in Mexico, but have not ruled out him being somewhere in South America, the U.S., or Canada. The charges against him carry a minimum penalty of life in prison. So sad to see someone with such a promising career fall so far from grace. Of course, we can't have a show about Elon Musk without talking about Elon Musk in the news. On Thursday, SpaceX's Starship mega rocket exploded about 8 minutes after launch, prompting temporary interruptions in flights around Florida due to space launch debris. Thursday's failed launch, unfortunately, marks the second in a row for SpaceX. The Starship megaship is the most powerful rocket ever developed and is uncrewed. SpaceX officials have stated they will not carry any people until they have completed hundreds of test missions. Okay, so that's the news this week. It's time to talk about the dark MAGA knight himself, Elon Reeve Musk. Elon Musk was born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, Transvaal, South Africa. His parents are Errol Musk, a politician, mine owner, and businessman, and May Musk, a model and author. Politics runs deep in the Musk family, as both his father and maternal grandfather, Joshua Haldeman, were both prominent politicians. Haldeman, Elon's grandfather, had a very interesting political career and was actually arrested in Canada in 1940 for being a member of Technocracy Incorporated, an organization that believed that society should be run by technical experts whom they believed would make government more rational and productive. He was later released and in 1943 joined the Social Credit Party of Canada and served as one of its leaders. In 1945, he would run for a seat in the Canadian federal parliament, but would ultimately lose. He had been accused of being deeply anti-Semitic and having anti-democratic views and being a conspiracy theorist. Sound familiar? Elon's father, Errol, was a member of South Africa's Progressive Federal Party for 3 years, and just like Elon's grandfather, left his respective party and later opposed their views. He went on to become one of the wealthiest people in South Africa and became a very successful developer and owned an auto parts store, a hunting lodge, and owned and had stakes in Zambian emerald mines. From what I have seen and read, Errol is apparently a terrible person who has been accused by Elon's mother of being abusive and violent. If this isn't cringe, I'm not sure what is. Apparently, Errol married a 25-year-old in the early 90s and they had 2 children. That woman had a daughter previously, and her daughter, who was 4 years old at the time Errol married her mom, later became one of Errol's romantic partners. And apparently now they have 2 children together. Wow, just wow. Elon has said on record that his father is, quote, a terrible human being and, quote, almost every evil you could possibly think of, he has done. Man. Elon's mother has been a model for over 50 years, appearing on multiple magazine covers such as Vogue, Women's Day, and the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. She holds a tri-citizenship. I didn't even know that was possible. She's also a renowned dietitian and owns a business and gives presentations around the world. In addition, she is a published author writing the memoir, A Woman Makes a Plan, Advice for a Lifetime of Adventure, Beauty, and Success, and Feel Fantastic, May Musk's Good Health Clinic. In China, May is nearly as famous as Elon and is all over billboards, magazine covers, and does a lot of advertising. She's also apparently very close to President Trump, just like her son as well. So just a little backstory there on Elon's family. Now let's talk about Elon himself. Elon has a younger brother, Kimball, a younger sister, Tosca, and 4 paternal half-siblings. In 1980, his parents divorced and he moved to live with his father, supposedly because Errol had a computer and Encyclopedia Britannica, which his mother could not afford. Elon was 10 at the time. In a biography written by famous author Walter Isaacson, he has claimed that Elon suffers to this day from post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, from his childhood and abuse from his father Errol. In the book, he recounts part of Elon's childhood where he spent time at a wilderness survival camp known as Veldskole. He claims that in the school, bullying was considered a virtue, and kids were given small rations of food and water and were encouraged to fight over them. He also said that students were oftentimes divided into 2 groups and told to attack each other, and that every few years, one of the kids would die. Man, if this is true, it's a miracle he wound up semi-normal today. Elon would begin to develop an interest in video games and computers around this time, and when he was 12 years old, he sold a video game he created called Blastar to PC and Office Technology magazine for $500. And with this began the first business venture of the man who would eventually become the world's wealthiest person. Musk would later attend Waterkloof House Preparatory School, Bryanston High School, and Pretoria Boys School, from which he graduated. Believe it or not, Elon was actually not a great student. He only received a B on his senior math certification and a 61 on Afrikaans, which is a language spoken in South Africa and other parts of Africa. Following his graduation, Elon would apply for a Canadian passport through his mother, May, which people have claimed was to avoid South Africa's mandatory military service. And he attended the University of Pretoria, awaiting his application to be processed. In 1989, Elon would finally arrive in Canada, where he worked some odd jobs, including at a lumber mill and a farm. In 1990, he attended the Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario, and would later transfer to the University of Pennsylvania. He studied there until 1995, but didn't receive his degrees from college until 1997. Musk earned a Bachelor's of Arts and a Bachelor of Science. It has been reported that he frequently hosted house parties in which he would charge an entrance fee to help pay for his tuition. In 1994, Musk held internships at Silicon Valley startups Pinnacle Research, who experimented with electrolytic supercapacitors for energy storage, and Rocket Science Games. In 1995, Elon, his brother Kimball, and Greg Corey founded web software company Zip2 with money borrowed from his father Errol. Headquartered in California, they developed an internet city guide similar to City Search and were able to secure contracts from the Chicago Tribune and the New York Times. In February of 1999, Compaq Computer Corporation acquired Zip2 from the Musk brothers for a reported $307 million, and Elon received $22 million of it for his 7% share. In 1999, Elon co-founded X.com, an online email payment and financial services company. X.com became one of the very first federally insured online banks and had over 200,000 customers at the time. X.com would later merge with competitive company Cofinity, who owned PayPal, and Musk would become CEO. Due to differences in opinions of how the business should be run and software used, the board of directors would oust Elon as CEO in the year 2000. In what can only be described as karma, eBay would acquire PayPal in 2002, and eBay's largest shareholder at the time was, you guessed it, Elon Musk. Elon would receive a whopping $175.8 million for his almost 12% shares in eBay and turn around and purchase X.com, which would later become what we now know as the social media platform X, back from PayPal. You may hear liberal Democrats say sometimes that Elon Musk wants access to the IRS and other government agencies because he wants your personal information, such as your social security number and bank account information. So keep in mind, if you ever hear liberal Democrats say that, chances are he has already had access to this information via PayPal. For me personally, I think that's one of the most ridiculous things I've heard liberals say about Elon. The guy is literally the freaking richest man in the world. What exactly would he want, or more importantly, do with your money? Cracks me up every time I hear that. Anyways, without spending too much time discussing his more recent business endeavors, Elon would get involved with the nonprofit Mars Society and talk about funding for a growth chamber for plants on Mars. He would try, unsuccessfully, to purchase intercontinental ballistic missiles from Russia, cue the Russian collusion folks here, to use the launch to the greenhouse payloads into space. And thus you have the creation of SpaceX, where Musk endeavored to build more affordable rockets. He would found the company in 2002 for $100 million and became the company's CEO and chief engineer. In its early stages, after a couple of failed launches, SpaceX would nearly bankrupt Musk. But in 2008, they would successfully launch the Falcon 1 into orbit, and his fortunes would change. NASA would award SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract later that year, and after many years of successful launches and development of different rockets and ships, NASA would again award SpaceX an $843 million contract in 2024. SpaceX produced the Starlink satellites, which, as we know, were greatly discussed and debated during much of the first few years of the Russia-Ukraine war. During the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Elon provided free service of the Starlink satellites to Ukraine, which allowed Ukraine to maintain internet access and communications. So, any of the liberal Democrats that want to say that Musk is somehow influencing President Trump in any way to stop spending money on Ukraine, remember 2002 and when Elon spent a reported $400 million of his own money, what it supposedly cost SpaceX that year. And then, of course, there's Tesla. We all know of Elon's involvement in Tesla. Most people think that Elon founded and started Tesla. Elon actually had nothing to do with the beginnings of Tesla. Martin Eberhard and Mark Taperning actually founded the company in July of 2003. But in February of 2004, Elon would make a $6.35 million investment in Tesla and become the company's majority shareholder and join the board of directors as its chairman. In 2008, Martin Eberhard was ousted from the firm, and Elon would take over as CEO and product architect. In May of 2020, Elon resigned as chairman of the board as part of a settlement stemming from a lawsuit by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. I didn't want to use the acronym SEC because I figured y'all would be like, What's a college football division suing Elon for? In which they claim him tweeting that the funding had been secured for potentially taking Tesla private. Of course, Tesla's other big claim to fame, in addition to cars, is battery factories. And in October of 2021, Tesla reached a market capitalization of $1 trillion, only the sixth company in U.S. history to do so. SpaceX and Tesla are the two things that most people know Elon for, but he has his hands in much more business-wise than just the two of them. You may have heard about Elon implanting computer chips in people's heads. Well, that's referring to Neuralink, a neurotechnology startup company he co-founded with a team of 8 scientists and engineers. This is where I step back and start to have a problem with things. I've been talking about doing an AI show, and I need to do that sometime. In my personal opinion, this is the point where we need to step back and maybe think that we aren't meant to try to play God with things like this. I'm all for advances in medical technology, but trying to potentially merge man and machine is playing a dangerous game. Neuralink has been conducting animal testing on monkeys and even released a video where a monkey played the video game Pong via a Neuralink implant. I think you can find it on YouTube if you want to see it for yourself. Multiple people have made claims of animal cruelty and have alleged that Neuralink has violated the Animal Welfare Act. In 2022, a federal probe was launched into Neuralink, which, as much as I love Elon, I do have to say, I haven't found any updates on this lately, but I'm sure his relationship with President Trump will more than likely make this probe go away. Again, without spending too much time on anything, Elon also is involved with other AI ventures such as OpenAI, which is a nonprofit AI research company, a concept for a transport system that would travel between LA and San Francisco called Hyperloop, and of course the purchase of Twitter in October of 22, which was renamed and rebranded to what we now know as X. It's insane how much this guy has his hands in. And we haven't even gotten into politics yet. I personally can't remember how or when I first heard about Elon getting involved with President Trump's campaign. Can you? Elon historically has been all over the board when it comes to politics. Basically, whatever fits his needs and interests is what he's supported in the past. He's been registered in the past in California as an independent, but he's donated to both Democrats and Republicans. In 2008 and 2012, Elon supported Barack Obama. In 2016, he supported Hillary Clinton. And in 2020, he supported Joe Biden. Yes, you heard that right. In 2020, Elon Musk supported Joe Biden, although reportedly he didn't donate any money to his campaign. It's fascinating to track his donation history to different candidates over the years. If you want to see for yourself, Google opensecrets.org, which is a nonprofit organization in DC that tracks donations and publishes data on campaign finance and lobbying. So what, after so many years of donating to mostly Democrats, made Elon decide to go all in on Trump in 2024? Well, from what I can decipher, there are a few reasons. Number one, Elon announced that he was endorsing Trump immediately after the failed assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th, 2024. I think Musk, like so many other Americans, saw President Trump's courage and reaction to being shot. Yes, there are lots of conspiracy theories going around about that today. I think part of him was moved by his actions that day. And number two, as the owner of the world's largest social media platform, X, there's no doubt in my mind that Elon saw which way the wind was blowing with the insane amount of censorship that was taking place in the mainstream media during Barack Obama's presidency and eventually culminating in Joe Biden's presidency. As a genius and someone who likes to do things his way and forge his own path, I think Elon knew he had a better chance being able to express himself and his platform under Trump. And number three, and this is the big one here and really the elephant in the room, Elon's always going to look out for number one. Without going into too many details, Elon loves to fly around in his jet everywhere. He wants to do what is best for his businesses and interests. And with the climate change nut jobs running amok during the Biden administration, he knew they wouldn't like his ridiculous amount of carbon emissions from his jet and SpaceX. He also knows Trump is a businessman who also is going to do what is best for himself and his businesses as well. Whereas Joe Biden didn't know what he ate for lunch or what day of the week it was most of the time. No, Joe Biden did what Barack Obama, George Soros, Klaus Schwab, and his globalist overlords told him to do. And that narrative didn't fit what Elon wants to do. Pretty simple, really, if you think about it. Either way, there is zero doubt how massive a role Elon Musk played in helping getting Donald Trump elected. Okay, so we've covered Elon's life, business ventures, and some of his involvement in politics. Let's talk about his current personal life, specifically his love life. And man, if you thought the rest was interesting, if you don't know already, wait until you hear about this guy's romantic partners. In the year 2000, he married his first wife, Justine Musk, and the couple have 6 children before divorcing in 2008. In a 2010 interview that Justine Musk did with Marie Claire, Justine recounted the story of how they met, telling the magazine that Musk approached her in a common room at Queen's University in Canada and asked her out for ice cream. She said yes, but later blew him off by leaving a note on her dorm room door. She said a few hours later, Elon showed up at the student center where she was studying, 2 ice cream cones in hand. She said famously, quote, "He's not a man who takes no for an answer." The couple was married for 8 years before divorcing and ultimately sharing custody of their children. In 2022, one of their twins changed his name to Vivian to reflect his gender identity. He now identifies as a trans woman and took Wilson as her surname so that he wouldn't be associated with Elon. If you've heard Elon talk about the woke mind virus that has destroyed his family, this is what he's referring to. In 2010, Elon married English actress Tallulah Riley, and they divorced in 2010. In July of 2013, Elon remarried Riley, and then they divorced again in October of 2016. You cannot make stuff up when it comes to this guy. One of Elon's most famous and high-profile relationships was with actress Amber Heard. Just everyone has heard about the court battle between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, who Heard was dating at the time when Elon reportedly first expressed interest in Amber. Depp claims to this day that Amber Heard and Elon Musk were secretly dating in 2015 when Heard was married to Johnny Depp. In 2016, Amber Heard filed for divorce from Johnny Depp, and Heard and Musk officially began dating in April 2017. That relationship didn't last long, as the two split soon after in August of 2017. Heard and Musk both claim to have a good friendship to this day. His next high-profile relationship was with musician Grimes, whose real name is Claire Boucher. They apparently first connected via Twitter and were first spotted together at the Met Gala red carpet. In August of 2018, it seemed that they had broken up after they both unfollowed each other on social media, but they were spotted together a few times, and Kim Kardashian took pictures of them together at a Kardashian-Jenner family Christmas party later in 2019. In May of 2020, they had their first child together, whom they famously named X. I have no idea how to pronounce the weird name they actually gave him. You will see X parading around the White House with Musk today. In December of 2021, they welcomed their second baby via surrogate. You guessed it, had to give her another weird name, Exla Y Dark Sideral. Sorry, Elon, if I pronounced that wrong. In journalist Walter Isaacson's biography I mentioned before, he revealed that the couple had a third child, of course, keeping with the tradition they named Techno Mechanicus. Sounds like a robot from Transformers. In 2024, People magazine reported that a source had told them that Grimes and Musk had gone house hunting in Bel Air to find a home for their children and Musk's other children and their mothers. You cannot make this stuff up, people. Oh, but we're not done yet. In July of 2022, court documents released by The Insider revealed that Elon had fathered twins with a project director at his company Neuralink named Sivan Zilis. In typical Elon fashion, he wasn't just going to do anything normal or traditional with their names. Elon and Sivan apparently asked a Texas court where the twins were born to change their baby's name so they would have their father's last name and contain their mother's last name as part of their middle name. And their twins' arrival came just weeks before Musk and Grimes welcomed their baby girl via surrogate. And in July of 2024, Musk confirmed that he and Zilis had their third child together. Whew. Okay, finally rounding it out, in February of 2024, author Ashley St. Clair announced on X that her and Elon had fathered his 13th child. To date, Elon has not confirmed nor denied her claims that he is the father of the child. Oh, man. I think only Nick Cannon is the only one who can top Elon on reproducing. To sum it up, this makes 13 children with 4 different partners. I think that's right, 3 or 4. Well, assuming, of course, Ashley St. Clair's claims are true. Okay, we've covered Elon's life, his political involvement, his history, and his love life. I've heard some pretty wild theories surrounding Elon Musk. Some people have actually suggested and apparently may actually believe that Elon Musk is an alien. No, I don't mean he snuck his way in from Mexico. No, I mean like an extraterrestrial alien. Elon has even joked that he is an alien and the Earth is simply a simulation from an alien race's video game. Okay, I think if you follow Elon on X like I and millions of other people do, you know that he loves to say totally off the wall things like that. I've also heard people say that he is a member of the Illuminati, which is probably a lot more possible. But he seems to at least genuinely care about people and want to help people. Just my 2 cents. Okay, the only other thing I figured I would bring up real quick is whatever happened to Elon and Zuckerberg throwing down in a cage match? Did y'all forget about that? In June 2023, Musk and Zuckerberg talked about facing each other in a fight, and UFC owner Dana White even stepped in and offered to make the fight legitimate and for charity. Musk and Zuckerberg have been feuding for years. I believe it started when a rocket from SpaceX exploded and destroyed a satellite from Facebook in 2016. Zuckerberg released a statement saying he was deeply disappointed about SpaceX's failure. After Facebook later got into the Cambridge Analytica scandal, Elon publicly deleted his company's Facebook pages and said Facebook gave him, quote, the willies. Personally, I am crazy disappointed this fight never happened. I think it would have been awesome and maybe would have been the most watched fight, maybe even televised event of all time. I guess we'll never know. Okay, folks, that's my show for this week. The first ever, at least mostly, biography show on someone. Like I said before, I probably will never do this type of show again. Besides Donald Trump or maybe Josh Gates, there really isn't anyone that I find interesting enough to do a biography on. And even those 2 guys, to me at least, aren't as interesting as Elon Musk is. Little legal disclaimer here real quick. All the information and images associated with this episode are all public knowledge or domain and readily available to anyone. Just figured I would throw that out there. Thank you for listening. Please be sure to like and follow my social media accounts, X and Facebook, or you can email me at thepppodcast@yahoo.com.
Thank you for listening to the Politics, Prepping, and Paranormal Podcast. Your source for real news and analysis on politics, prepping, paranormal, conspiracy theories, and the volatile state of the world we live in. Tune in next week and every week for a new episode. And stay safe, stay healthy, and stay vigilant.